Good morning, everybody. My name is Amanda Christine Nakagwa. My name is Amanda Christine Nakagwa. Today is the 26th of September, 2021. Tomorrow, a few hours from now, which is the 27th of September, I'll be 45 years old. There is a disclaimer on this video saying that I am 45 years old. Therefore, I'm not intimidated by anything. I'm not threatened by anything. And I'm not impressed by anything. So I'll give you my peace of mind as a 45-year-old woman that has gone through hell, that has gone through high waters, that has gone through the valley of the shadow of death, and I've returned to say I've got the keys of life. They are called the wisdom nuggets. Now, I am answering the question, Christine, do you have any regrets in your 45 years old? If we were to turn back the years, if we were to turn back the clock, would you do something different? Definitely, many things. But there's one thing that I would do different. There is one thing every day I wake up in my mind and I say, Lord, if it wasn't for you, I really regret this. It's going to be very hard hitting. You may not get it, you may not understand it. That's all right. This is not for everybody. Do I have a regret in life? Yes, I do. What is that regret? I regret the day I boarded the plane to come to England. I regret coming to this country called Great Britain. No, you didn't hear me. I regret ever having chosen to come to this country. Oh yeah, Christine, no, it's just bad luck. So what are you doing in this country if you regret it so much? The door is wide open. Why don't you get out? Calm down, brother. I'll back up. It's going to be deep, so I'm thinking it's going to be a bit long. So I'll go very quickly. I'll back up. I was raised by a single mom. Mom lost dad when I was quite little. As a youth, I think she was about 25 years old. So you can imagine being a widow, being widowed at 25 years. She ran off to Nairobi. She left us with relatives. When she came back, I was living with my grandmom, and I thought grandmom was my mom. So she picks us up again, and she starts her life. And so I stuck with mom for all this long, but the other relatives, my other relatives stuck with the other children, my sisters, 2 sisters. But I stuck with mom ever since. My education was hard. Mom had no money. So going to school, I was delayed. I went when I was 7 years. You can imagine raising a child until 7 years. And people used to laugh at mom. One time mom had a fight, not a physical fight, but a verbal fight with a neighbor. And he said, hey, do you want my child to stay at home like the other woman's child? I remember that statement. Oyagala omwana wange atula wakanga oli owoli. Right. That is the struggle, the first struggle. I started very late, but I missed a class. When indeed I started, I missed a class. So I entered a year ahead of me. So maybe that's how I picked up a bit on my age. And now we move on. Mom used to enroll me in school, the nearest school or whatever school she would find. Then she would pay the fees for this term. Second term, she doesn't know where the fees is coming from, or the situation becomes worse. And then mom would, when they say school fees time, those who haven't paid go home, then mom would give me half of it or whatever she has found. And then I would take back the school fee, the money to school, and they would allow me study for maybe a month. Then towards the exam time, then they would say, all those that have paid half, go home and pick the balance. Then mom would say, sit down, I don't have any more. And that would be the end of my school term. Oh my God. There's wind and rain is coming down. Water is coming down, but it didn't get on me. Right. So that was my education. Follow me. So apart from starting late, apart from having no really encouragement at home, even the attendance wasn't that. Then the third thing is we used to move a lot because mom was renting. We didn't have a permanent accommodation. Mom would rent, and then when she pays the deposit for 3 months here, then the next 3 months when the money is used up, then we have to move to another house. So we moved places. And of course it was war. What was that war in 86? Panda Gali, we ended up going into villages and hiding and all that stuff. So that was another reason we moved places. Twasengukanga nnyo. Mama nga apangisanga agezaako wano agezaako wali naye nga ate ne Panda Gali bwe yajjira ne batutwala mu kyalo. So nembeera nga amasomero nagakyusa. I changed schools very often. Kati one time nga Destiny, when we crossed paths with Destiny, Mama moved from one house which was actually supposed to be our relative's house. Tata wange baali babalekedde emizigo, so twali tupangisa ku mizigo gy'abasenga, which was supposed to be si kupangisa, twali tubeera ku mizigo gw'abasenga, but there was a scuffle between the in-laws, my mom's in-laws, which are my singers, and my mom. Ne tuba nga tulina kuvaawo, kati ne tuba nga tulina kgenda kupangisa, mama n'agenda n'apangisa. Anyway, the scuffle is easy to tell. I'm 45, there's nothing to hide. Mama yafuna omusajja omulala, n'abanga my stepdad, kati ate nga ate abeera ku nnyumba z'abasenga. Kati gwe owulira otya? How do you feel if your brother died and left a wife and children? So they are staying in one of your rental places or your houses as your brother's wife. Ate kati bw'afuna omukazi omulala, omusajja omulala, how do you feel? Kati mama yalina okumuvinga, so ne tumuvinga. But this was destiny for me. Twamuvinga ku nyumba nga twamuvinga, first of all twamuvinga from a very poor gundi. Twali tubeera eno wansi nga ku Ssembule wansi mu Kisenyi, ne twambuka ku waggulu ku lusozi. So for me that was an upgrade. Ekyokubiri, we moved into a house which had electricity and cement, proper cement. Eno wansi gye twali temwali masannyalaze, so nendaba nga two upgradings. So nze tebyankosa nnyo. In fact, I was happy to move. Mulaba nga nkankana, obudde bulimu empewo. Kaakati ne tugenda ewa mwami Mirundi. I'm not ashamed to say this was a very vital destiny maker in my life. Mwami n'omukyala Mirundi ab'e Kabowa balina akasomero nga bakayita Frobel. These were academicians. The mom was academician. They was a teacher. They were both teachers, and nga balina abaana baabwe nga basomera Buganda Road. Kati Mrs. Mirundi yalinga asomesa ku nursery ye Makerere University ina ka nursery. Kati nga ate ye mwami Mirundi nga ina akasomero ku kyalo, nga atandika ka private school bakayita Frobel Nursery School, katandikanga nursery school. Kati awo we twapangise wa mwami Mirundi. Kati abaana be basomera Buganda Road nga balina omwana Jackie. I remember the daughter is Jackie, is almost the same age as me. Kakati ng'omwana ono ava Buganda Road, the kid came from Buganda Road and had a school papers or homework. Kati ng'atuula ku lubalaza ku masannyalaze, nange maama maze okunaaba kawungeezi nga ngenda wali nga nfukamira ka stool wawandiikira homework we nga mugamba, what are you studying? As kids there's no boundaries. Kati omwana talina bwakweyagalirako. She's also lucky to have a playmate, her age mate. Newankubadde bo bagagga naye nga for kids they don't measure these things. They are just happy to have a friend. So Jackie treated me very well. N'abanga nzikiriza okulaba empapula ze, and this was the breakthrough. Kati omwana ono bwe muyamba ku homework, omwana ono yaddayo ewa bazadde be n'agamba nti, Mom, come and see this new girl. I don't know whether she knew my name, I don't remember, but I'm thinking this is what she said. Mom, the new girl that has come on our houses, she's very clever. She's taught me how to do the work. Kubanga naturally nina teaching spirit. I'm a teacher, I think. bwemba nkusomesa I'm not a practical person. I learn things and I teach them to you. I'm a boss. I'm a leader. Kwegamba mbi confused nanga, am I a leader or am I a teacher? Nsobola okikusomesa n'okikola saagala kikola. Anyway, kati when namusomesa omwana n'abikwata bulungi n'alaba nga obwedda struggling, the teacher never understood what the teacher was saying, but when I told her, she was very impressed. Katonda namkolera favor. God made a favor for me through this child. He went and spoke to his parents and he said, this kid, kakati omwana ne bamuwanga homework nga tukola officially. Kati yainanga textbooks. I never had a book. Ndayagracingeko naye eyo njababulira olulala olunaku olulala. I never had a book until I was the age of 13. Mwababi eno mu UK mukiwuliranga ekitayinza na kubaawo. I tell this story to most of the old people. I'm answering the question, Christine, why did you come to UK then? If you regret ever coming, so why did you come to UK? Kati abashala abazadde bano ne bagamba mama wange ne bangamba omwana wo nga mugezi. Kati awo nkugambye nti mwami mirundi alina akasomero nga bakayita Frobel nga ntwalamu mu class olumu mu class z'abaana be ninsomesa nimbasomesa just trying me. As adults, you know what I mean. You can test a child before the child knows that actually you're doing it. But in retrospect, after 45 years, I look back on my life and I can see and I can add the dots. Kakati, sorry. One wali very beautiful. Kati mbera antunula walala ne mugamba unayogera nafa ayogera nani. I'm also very shy. Kati munange, what happened? Mwami Mirundi ne mchala Mirundi, and they spoke to one of their relatives. Bamwita Joy Male. Joy Male was the headmistress of Nakasero Secondary School. Nakasero Secondary School was just above Chagwe. Weights and measures awo waggulu awo babayitawo batya Chagwe Road. Awo nga ku kikubo gye kiggwera awo ewaali Nakasero. So the headmistress was Joy Male, and they were related to Mwami, Mr. and Mrs. Mirundi. Kati oyo omukyala gwe approachinga ne bamugamba omwana ono twandyagadde tumufunire essomero eno mu Kampala. Kati munnange omukyala nga gamba omwana bamuleete. Mrs. Joy Male says that mom should bring me and then she can try. Can you imagine favor after favor, doors opening before my mom can pay any money, or she's not even interested. She wasn't even interested at all. Kubanga, for her, she was lucky that I would go to school even 5 minutes. Even 5 minutes, I wouldn't afford the fees. Now you're telling me to take my child to school, to Kampala. How will I even transport her there? Kakati. So it was very difficult. Sorry, I sat by a spring and the families wanted to play with the spring, so they are going back. But anyway, I must finish this. Kati, sorry, I'm shaking. Not shaking, but I'm recollecting this. Follow me. So, long story short, binonja bibabuulira mu stories endala. I'm writing books. People who are saying, oh, Christine, why don't you write books? Yes, I'm writing books, and they are all books and books and books. They all will be released in time when the conclusion of all these stories come together. Kati nga omukyala nantwala e Bati Valley Primary School. I passed the exams. E Bati Valley Primary School, nenkola P6 ne P7. Nengende Namagunga. Bwe ntuuka Namagunga, I got 4 aggregates in my P7. Bwe ntuuka Namagunga, teacher n'akola ki? Headmistress nga tulaba struggling kubaira mama yalinga bu school fees tebwali bungi nnyo by then, naye ng'era mama abusasula mu installments. Mama sente ze yafunanga zaali ntono nnyo nga basically ayina zisasula 3 months. Omwana omu yalina abaana bangi, naye yalina abaana 4, naye kati teeberezaamu nga school fees zange zokka azisasula with 3 months wages. Kati yazisasulanga ati kubanga tamu ebeera ya 3 months. Mama kye yakolanga alina abantu bakola nabo 2, very humble people at Mengo Hospital. Very, very humble people. They were cleaners. Mama yabakolako omukwano kati nga clean omu omusaala gwe bano ba clean ababiri nga emisaala gyabwe bagimuwa. Kati mu mwezi gumu ng'afuna omusaala gwe n'afuna n'emisaala gy'abali abalala babiri. This is how I was educated. Ng'agireeta gyonna n'azimpa ssente n'enzitwala Namagunga n'ensoma. Kati the 3 months time maama ng'asasula bwe bamusasulanga omwezi ogwaddako ng'asasula oli friend w'omu nga no it was a man and a woman. Kati nga n'omwezi ogwokusatu nga naatera okuvaayo ku ssomero nga maama asasula school fees oli manya nga asasula ebbanja ly'oli. And that's how I was educated. So we were really struggling. Kati mba ndi awo I think towards the end of first year S1 headmistress najja ne forms as a Save the Children Fund. Follow me. So exactly 15 minutes and I'm going to start the video right here. Headmistress was an Irish nun. Christine, why did I come to England? I'm introducing my first introduction to English people. The United Kingdom is made of Northern Ireland. It is made of Scotland. It's made of England. And it's made of Wales. I am 13 years old. I am in Mount St. Mary's, Namagunga, the best girls' secondary school in Uganda. It's a Catholic school opened and run, founded by the St. Franciscan sisters, Catholic sisters from Ireland. Bano baali bazungu. Namagunga abatukulumberanga mu masomero abamu n'abasomesa baali bazungu. So n'abaddugavu baalimu, bannayuganda baalimu, naye nga bannannyini ssomero baali bazungu. 1990 I entered senior 1. Kati bwe tuvaayo headmistress ye nga adults yatulabanga ndowooza nga struggling. We are very intelligent kids. We've entered with aggregate 4 naye nga struggling. Of course jjukira nti omwaka gwa 1990 I entered Mount St. Mary's Namagunga is the time that the president's daughter arrived, and that means the ambassadors and all the ministers bonna ne bayingira. Kati ng'ate olwo boddira white n'omuteekako dot kishoutinga nnyo. Kati boddira obwavu n'obuteeka with ultra riches ate omwavu afuukira ddala mwavu. Kati awo nembeera nga my poverty was so magnified kubanga bw'obeera n'abaana baba diplomats n'obeera n'abaana baba ministers n'obeera n'abaana ba Museveni bava Sweden, ebintu bye baleeta mu suitcase yaabwe twajjanga na tin box, nange bu popcorn obusiikiddwa mu kaseppi kyeka ng'awo bibeera magnified. Omufaliso inchi 6 maama wange gwe yayina gwokka najjanga ne ka inchi oba 2 oba okiraba. So as adults headmistress n'akiraba n'atuwandiika n'atuleetera forms nga ziva mu Save the Children Fund. It's a sponsorship program. Mwabayise mu World Vision oba muyise mu Compassion mubitegeera. And so my name came back as an old lady from Save the Children Fund was going to sponsor me. So if you waliwo family yagala okuyitawo wano naye eti okuyitawo. It wasn't. I'm actually recording from the reverse. Tugende maaso. So an old lady, she was old because I remember seeing the picture of my sponsor, agreed to sponsor me. School fees zasasulibwa emyaka okuva mu senior 2 paka senior 6. I was sponsored half fees. If we are paying 10,000, the sponsorship came like 5,000 was paid, and mom had to pay only half of that money. From senior 2 up to senior 6, I was sponsored by an old lady in England. I don't know whether it's Ireland, but Save the Children Fund is a charity here in the UK. So when I came out of university, I worked in Mengo Hospital. Second reason why I came to the UK. I didn't work with with the indigenous Ugandan doctors. I worked in orthopedics, and orthopedics was run by an Italian. It's a charity run by an Italian, but it had all these other missionaries coming from America, Australia, and whatever, and doing very brilliant surgeries. And so I worked with them straight out of internship. So I was exposed with these white people. I'm going to use the word white. I hope you don't take me for racism, but I'm using you guys who are foreigners, who are white. Tubaita abazungu. Nentandika okubeera n'abazungu. Immediately I finished internship, nembeera n'abazungu, nakola n'abazungu. Nendaba brilliance yaabwe, nendaba dedication yaabwe. Jukira, when I'm leaving university, when a child comes out of university, you are eager, you've just learned all the theory, now you want the practical, and I'm that kind of person. I have zeal, I have passion. Kati passion bw'ogiteeka kuba n'abazungu ate bo babeera hyper excited. Abazungu ne banjagala because I had passion for what they did. Kati era omulimu ne guggwawo emmengo, omulimu gwaggwawo in such a way nti nze tebangobangako. Balabi omulimu gwali brilliant nnyo, twakolanga reconstruction surgeries on the children in Mengo. Very brilliant work nga ne Mulago. Orthopedics in Mulago couldn't do that kind of work. So they took the Mulago Hospital, which was the postgraduate orthopedics. So Mulago Orthopedics nejja negamba ne volunteering the postgraduate students in Makerere to come and study and spend time in the unit at Mengo Hospital to experience these excellent surgeries that they won't see in the postgraduate school in Mulago. So went when losing omulimu kubanga kati if you've run a charity before, you know what it means to the sponsors. Mufunye free labor, ate these are postgraduates, ate kati musasula gundi batuyitanga when you finish internship tubeera bani SHO. Yeah, so I was an SHO, senior house officer, SHO. Kati nga ate bafunye ba postgraduate. Kati nga tebalina kuba bali babeera RG registrars. Kati nga bafunye free labor every week tebaneetaaga. Naye olw'okuba nti I had zeal and I had that passion, bakama bange ne banconnectinga e Kenya. Ningende Kenya Cure International, nenkola Kenya, and ate eringa mission nene. Kano kali ka just ka unit ka orthopedics eri yali mission nga nene. Kati nga abajja aba plastic surgery, cleft lip, kefalos. Oh, no medicine in vidde. But abaana b'emitwe eminene, hydrocephalus. Anyway, nga tukola a lot of reconstructive surgeries in the children especially. Katinga meeting teams in American Association of the Cleft Lip eba yakavaawo ne tufuna Australian simanyi spinal bifida tuba twakavamo ba Australians ne tufuna New Zealand bagenda kujja wano with a lot of, so nembera exposed to these white people. Kati ebiseera ebyo my heart and God's calendar for me to travel kubanga he causes us to will and to do. So bw'omwana ali eyo awulira clip eno ng'obulamu bwo bugamba nti njagala kutambula kibeera muli Katonda aba yakikuteekamu campus ebeera ya Katonda teweekumoma tebugamba bannange ati kati Christine yatugambye no message eno tekugaana kutambula. Nze I regret coming to United Kingdom. I don't regret migrating out of Uganda. I repeat, my number one regret in life, I regret choosing to come to England. Your statement ojja gitegeera eri twisted, ogenda gitegeera luvannyuma. Kati ekintu kiri bwe kiti, so nensalawo ngenda kujja kati wano we nakolera oba regret yange wejjira. Ningamba ngenda kujja pursuing a postgraduate. Kati twabeeranga Kenya International, Cure International at Kenya in Kijabe Mission. Nga baweereza Kenya never had an orthopedic unit postgraduate program. The whole of East Africa never had orthopedic postgraduate program. Kati nga bw'omala bakolera balinanga contract nga bakugamba bakolera emyaka 3 then ne bakuweereze ku university noddayo n'osoma postgraduate. That was the contract. Kati nabakolera 14 kwegamba omwaka gumu n'emyezi ena halfway. Kati ne ngamba bano bagenda ate kunziza Uganda. I was disappointed. Listen to me. I was disappointed kuba ate kati nvudde Uganda nga already I'm working for an orthopedic unit that was way advanced than postgraduate in Mulago. Kati ate ngenze Kenya, the promotion, they are saying that I can, when I do very well, they will sponsor me to do my postgraduate in orthopedics, but in Mulago kubange Kenya tebayinaayo, ne Tanzania ndoza nabo bali tebayinaayo. Nga tusobola bikolera Lusaka, Zambia, oba nga tusobola kukolera postgraduate nga tusobola gikolera Makerere University. So kati nembeera disappointed ningamba nze bana ate bannampeerezaayo kanneepangira ebyange ngende. So I sit down and plan to leave Africa to go and pursue a postgraduate degree in medicine, in orthopedics. Nga mbinoonyerezaako ku internet, nga mbuuzaako ne kuba doctors be nali ndese Uganda, nga bangamba you have to do the PLAB exams and you have to apply, then ogenda bw'otuuka eyo then bibyanguwa. Nga ngenda nga mbikola nga ngende South Africa ninye nyonyi nga ngende South Africa nga nkola PLAB part 1 nga nzija nga mbireeta nga bampa visa. Nga bampa visa, the General Medical Council invites me to come to United Kingdom. Ntuuka mu United Kingdom, this is where my regret comes. Nzize nga ndowooza ngenda ku meeting abazungu, the excellence of excellence. Saagala gundi ene egende wala nnyo beyond an hour. Kati tuli mu 26 minutes. Kati bwe mbuga nti next 30 minutes pay attention. Ngenda kuwa elite. Zino bazita DOP reasons. Tugenda kuva ku level ey'okugamba kasita neebaka. Nkubuulire ebintu bino nga mbiteeka ne mu scriptures. Nkugambe nti ngenda concludinga n'oluyimba olugamba there is no glory in my own wisdom, not even power in my own strength, or not even strength in my own power. Temuli kitiibwa mu magezi gange, yadde amaanyi ku lwange nze, senyumiriza mu bugagga bwange, nze nenyumirizanga mu ggwe. You are seeing me again. I'm not focusing on the camera. There's a football going on there, so I'm watching the football. Kati nali nzija mpakinga suitcase yange. I'm packing my suitcase. I've never heard of the word black skin color. I'm packing my suitcase. I've never heard of the word refugee. I'm packing my suitcase. I've never heard of immigrant, illegal immigrant, poverty, asylum seeker. I'm packing my suitcase to come to England on 3 occasions. When I decide to choose this country to come to England, there are 3 reasons ringing in my head. America was open to me. Canada was open to me. Australia was open to me. Every country around the world was open to me. I choose to come to Great Britain for 3 reasons. 1, the woman who sponsored me was from England, Compassion, Save the Children Fund. I thought, when I come to this country, I owe my academic excellence. I owe my life. I owe my whatever else I've become to this woman. Probably by coming to this country, I may find her. If I don't find her alive, because it's been 5 years of medical school, if I don't find her alive, probably I may find her relatives. Even if I don't find this family, Every time I will meet an old person in this country, I will treat them like I'm treating that person who paid my fees. Help me, Lord, that I don't cry. I am coming with this in mind. I'm packing my suitcases to come say thank you. There is a song, let me sing before my tears well up. That says, it's a Hillsong song. I've even forgotten how it starts. He who has restored my soul, I sing forever. I'm packing my bags. Second reason why I came to the United Kingdom. Save the Children Fund sponsored me. Had they not sponsored me, I would never have studied. I would never have gone to medical school. I would never have become who I am. There's no reason for me to go to America. There's no reason why I should go to New Zealand. I want to come here and say thank you. And then I had this picture of being a poster child. You know what a poster child is. I am coming to England and I'm going to look for the headquarters of Save the Children Fund. This time I'm not going to be a child in Africa with flies on their mouth. I'm not going to be the silly orphan that is so intelligent but so poor, whose photograph appeared and a woman said, I will sponsor that little one. But this time I'm turning up as Dr. C.A.N Nakagwa, who was once poor, but here I am as a doctor. I'm going to stand before Save the Children Fund and I say, look here, I'm going to tell you my story. I was one of those kids that the posters that you're holding. And a woman like one of you people sponsored me, and today I'm a doctor. And that alone would maybe encourage them, maybe would bring in more funding. I wanted to be a poster child for Save the Children Fund. I am not anywhere near being a refugee. I'm not anywhere near claiming benefits. I'm not anywhere near becoming a failure, being dumped in a box, branded immigrant, black, poor. Third reason why I came to the United Kingdom is, of course, I have experienced all these white people and their excellence of doing things, and I'm like, I don't want to go to Iran. I don't want to go to Egypt. I want to go to this country. Of course, they speak English. If I went to Sweden, I would have to learn the Swedish language. I landed at Heathrow Airport at 1 o'clock in the afternoon by Egypt Air. And that's when I realized for the first time in my life, that I was black. It had never ever mattered in my life. My skin color had never mattered in my entire life. I arrived at Heathrow Airport, age 29, one suitcase full of academic proficiencies, credentials. Because when I told all my bosses that I had got a visa to come to the United Kingdom to pursue a degree in medicine, in orthopedics, they started telling me how to compile my profile. They told me to do extra work, extra surgeries and record them, run a journal, everything you do, record it, let's sign it. I had all these papers. I arrived at Heathrow Airport. Immediately I'm dumped in a sewage of a system. Not only am I swimming towards the flow, but I'm swimming against it. Whatever I say, look here, I am a doctor. I need to get a visa to start working. They were looking at me like, what are you talking about? Those of you who live in this country, you know what it means. You don't walk on the streets. You don't walk on the high street and tell people I'm a doctor. They don't understand. They look at you double. They look at you like, what are you talking about? Who is a doctor? Doctors don't walk on the streets. In fact, when you mention certain titles like doctor, it's like, huh? So you're better than us? There's a socialism, there is a communism, all of us have to be equal, all of us have to buy milk from Tesco's, all of us have to be equal, we all have to be down there. And that's how I ended up here. There's no way I could mention I'm a doctor. There's no way I could mention, look here. A medical profession does not go with gaps in the CV. Can I have this? When I entered the country, it was 205. That is the year when the credit crunch had just been. They had just had a July bombing in London. They had been in a depression, financial depression. Then they had signed an they had joined the EU. So they had all these East Europeans arriving. They had like free labor, basically. Why should we use black people when we can have all these Romanians and the Polish and the Greeks and the Icelanders coming in? So black people at the time were really, really, really harassed. They were knocking on the doors at 4 a.m. and banding you up, whether you're in your pajamas or whether you're at your place of work. You don't have time to return home to pack anything. Whether you had some money under your pillow or you had a bank card, that's it. They just band you up and put you on the next flight to your country. They were deporting people. They were imprisoning people. They were laying off people from work. I kept on screaming like blind Bartimaeus, saying, Son of David, I'm not a refugee. Son of David, I'm not an immigrant. Son of David. When I packed my suitcase to come to this country, I had this in my mind. I thought I'm going to sit at the table of academicians and we iron sharpen iron. The more I shouted, the more the chains tightened. I wrote to the Member of Parliament. I was in Huntingdon, Cambridge. He wrote to the to Home Office and said, what are you doing with this woman's visa? Why don't I passed the exams? Okay, if you missed that point. I came in here, I passed the exams. I had a baby. Baby has a British passport. And all they were interested in is the part of the visa that says I have no recourse to public funds. I am not supposed to be entitled to any benefits. Therefore, give me to work. My grandmother was alive by that time. She was ailing. So I would be on the phone calling Africa and saying, what is happening, Christine? And I'm saying, Grandma, I can't work. I know, Grandma, you've just lost my mom. You're very sick. And then you had me as a pillar in the family. And now I'm in England, I'm crying, telling you, Grandma, I can't even send you some tablets. I was in Mengo Hospital. I could afford these tablets. I was in Kenya. I could afford to get on Akamba, the coach, and come and see you every month and buy you all the medicine you want. I'm in England, Grandma. And I can't even work. And then Grandma, in her little knowledge, she asks, why? And she says, because I have no papers. What are papers? But you have enough papers. You are a doctor, for goodness sake. Grandma couldn't get it. Neither could I get it. So I would explain to Grandma, you see, I have no recourse to public funds in as a simple and common sense way as I could find. And she would say, who told you to go and find recourse to public funds? Who wants public funds? We have never been a handout family. We have worked with all our lives. Aren't you able to work? Tell them you want to work. And Grandma breathed her last. they held on my passport. No reason whatsoever. I have no criminal record. I've passed the exams. The General Medical Council is telling me, can you go to Norwich and register for you and whatever. They are calling me for all the interviews as a doctor. You have applied. We have received your application for F1. That time they had changed the entry to postgraduate. They had brought this foundation year something. And the stringent rules had become worse. When we came in, because of the European Union, the rules had changed. If you want to apply for a job, the employer must approve that there is no British person, a British person with a British passport, that can do that job. The employer must show that there is no European Union person, and then that can do that job, and then now to give you as an African. So it was so hard. But then still, with luck, I was being invited for all these, wherever I would put my application, all these trusts, they call them trusts, they would call me for the interview. And the passport, the visa they gave you is 6 months. The visa for all this process takes you 18 months. They never tell you that you're actually going to get only 6 months. They tell you the visa that will get you through the process of arriving in England to being established to getting a working permit visa is 18 months. So you pay a lot of money in Africa, almost three months wages of you as a doctor. You pay to get the visa. When the visa comes back, the passport comes back, it is stamped with only 6 months. You say, oh, but what happened here? Oh, no, the other two times or the 12 months, you will get another 6 months when you're in the country, and also again get and that spells money. I regret when I see the theft. When I see the theft. This is not the country I expected it to be. So I'm dumped into this basket. Socially speaking, social services come into my house because I have no recourse to public funds and I'm not working. And I have a baby. What am I going to do? So they come in with section 56 or something, that allows the social services to look after you and your child until your papers are approved. Can you imagine? You put Christine in a basket and label it illegal immigrant, social services, government recourse to public funds. Basically, you have £45. They gave me £45 a week. Me and my child to pay all the bills, £45 a week. When I was packing my suitcase to arrive in this country, I was looking at a salary. The minimum salary of a doctor is 30,000. Now I have £45 a week. I have responsibility back home. The whole idea that they are forcing it on me is what infuriated me. What boiled me is the fact that you must scam. You are a square peg, we can see it, but you must enter a round hole. Aish. So either we pump you into entering the round hole, or we squeeze you until you're so small in your squareness that you will just drop through the round hole. That's what I've been doing these last 15 years of being in this country. I've been battered. I've been squeezed by the balls. Every time I lift up my head and say, but they hit me with their boot. Go back. You are not the first black person in this country. You're not the first immigrant in this country. Every immigrant has never seen electricity, is only lucky to be in this country. If you don't like it here, go back to your country. You're even lucky to be allowed to walk on our streets. That's the aggressiveness. Christine, why don't you get out? Why didn't you get out? Get the hell out of here, Christine. You're too smart. Why did you stay in this country? 15 years. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. On the 29th of October, of April, they couldn't give me my visa. I couldn't work. 2 years have gone. I had written to them, I had written to the Member of Parliament, I've written to the Queen, I've written to anybody, mention anybody in this country I had written. The House of Lords, the House of Commons, the justices, the whatever they call them, there's something about justice, the European Parliament. I had written to everybody, trying to tell them I'm a doctor that has come in this country and 3 years have gone by and my visa, my passport is being held by Home Office. I'm losing my career. I'm on benefits that I don't even deserve, I've never worked for. The more I wrote, the more I told you, the more I wrote, the more I cried, the more the boot became so squeezed. They brought the letter back and they dropped a letter in my letterbox and said on this date appear at the police station. I appeared at the police station and they said they served me papers, deportation papers. Get out. Get out. I said, look here, she is British. My baby is only 20 months and she's British. They served her papers and said, sign, get her out of here. And I said, you're deporting your own citizen? They didn't like it. They were teenagers. The system has, listen to me, the system has the habit of using young people because those ones can really infuriate you. They can frustrate you until you pull out your weave. They don't care what worry do they have. The adult ones, they will have a bit of common sense. They will try to listen. The young ones are only there to do what, to tick the boxes. They were young kids. They were 2 young girls. They didn't care. And that's how they told me. We don't care what happens to your child. If you want to leave the child, you can leave him. If you want to go with your child, you go with the child. I said this is a British child. They don't understand and they don't care. Infuriation after infuriation. Long story short, they grabbed the child and put her up for adoption. Christine, why don't you leave the country? No, they took my child. The Bible, God himself sits in heaven and says, can a mother forsake her child? When we're little kids, we used to draw a line. When one warring faction, Buganda Road Primary School, wanted a good fight with Batty Valley, we the cheerleaders, we would go to Makerere University Field, and draw a line. And say, you cross it. Oh, they would cross it, the blows would start, would beat, would scratch, would beat, would scratch. Now, when you cross over my boundary, you can do all these boots and whatever. Do not touch a woman's child. Do not touch a child, my child. I've stayed in this country. Not fighting, you can't find a monster. This is a crazy person with a gun. The way I view this country is a crazy person with a gun and the finger is twitching on the trigger. They will kill you and they won't care. And you wouldn't be the first and you wouldn't be the last. So I looked around and I saw how many frustrated black migrants that have come before me. How many more black migrants like me that are coming after me? What about their own people? What about their own people? And I went down to the basement of society in this country. And I saw the hurt, the pain, the frustration, the enslavement. And I said, oh, slave trade ended. According to the books and according to the public. But no, it didn't end. It only changed style. Christine, you're saying you're frustrated. It's because of your personal experience. You can't generalize it to us. You said this is for the elite, the elitism and the rivalism. I'm coming to that. While at the basement of society in UK, I now entered what they call conspiracy theories. You easily refer to it like that, but I would call it wisdom. I started studying society with the intuition of God, with the intelligence of God. God started showing me things, the things that used to glitter, the things that used to lure people, the things that you guys in Africa, in Uganda, watching this clip and saying, Christine, because we admire you, you are in UK. When I grow up, I want to be like Christine. Oh no, she's talking like that because she's in the UK. Oh no, because she's lucky. She can praise God, but because she came to UK, things have worked out for her. Stand up and walk. This is where it gets deep. It's exactly 9 minutes before I conclude it. It gets deep here. I go back to the song that says, there's no glory in my own wisdom, not even strength in my own power. If I'm ever to glory, I glory in the Lord. So, I'm speaking to you, young lady. I'm speaking to you, young man, that thinks if you come to Britain, you will find joy, you will find fulfillment. I hear standing here on the 45th birthday and saying that's a lie. Find fulfillment wherever God has planted you. Find fulfillment wherever God has planted you. What God has given you, has called you to do, do it. If God has given you a black man to marry, be happy in that marriage. Don't say, oh, I wish I was Christine that married a white man or has white children. I stand here as a 45-year-old person and say, I have pain, I'm disappointed. Oh, but Christine, what if you didn't come here, you wouldn't have got the children? Who tells you so? I would. I would. You wouldn't have built a house. You mean everybody that has built houses is in England? I conclude by saying, I repeat, my joy, my satisfaction at 45 years has not been because I came to England. It has been because I found God. Life can be frustrating. So we go back to the Bible, and I say Solomon, the wisest man, the richest man, the wisest man that ever lived. King Solomon said, it is all chasing the wind. It is all vanity. It's all vanity. This is where I said it will be deep. You may not get it. Yours is to wake up in the morning and praise the living God and eat and drink and be merry. Don't chase a visa. Don't hold your dreams on marrying that guy, and if you don't marry him, you will kill yourself. I wanted to travel. Yes, I did travel. Yes, I arrived. Yes, I did everything right, but things did not work out. Things didn't work out. Am I miserable? No, I've moved on. I'm happy. I'm happy. I live a day at a time. I've made 45 years old now, and I want to live the rest of my life happier than I have been. Wherever God has planted you, be happy. So when are you leaving, Christine, now that you're disappointed, now that you regret ever coming here? So when are you leaving? When they give me back my child, I'll leave. What if they don't? My child is now 15 years, was put up by adoption. in the most ugliest of injustice. I've seen the ugliest side of Great Britain, the ugliest side. And when I say I have seen, I have evidence. They will lie, they will kill to protect who they are. They will never apologize. They will never apologize. They will make sure they grab you and destroy the evidence. What about the doctors that have come and have made it? Are you speaking on their behalf? I will take that as a conspiracy theory and tell you that, did you know that education is actually an indoctrination? Has that doctor ever questioned why Panadol heals your pain? Has that doctor ever questioned what ingredients are put in the vaccinations? No. They tick the boxes. They do as they are told. When somebody presents like this, conclude like this, and treat like this. Tick the boxes. Tick the boxes. Did I want that? Where you can't reason? You can't reason. You can't reason. It's my disappointment. If you're caught by the police, you just say, fingers crossed, whatever comes will come. You are left at the mercy of the police and your lawyer. Whatever comes, there's no appeal. What does it say it? I go back to the Bible and say, it's 4 minutes to go. I said, I will give you the scriptures, because what I'm feeling, God wanted me to conclude these scriptures to you. At 45 years old, Solomon said, it is vanity. Don't put your life on hold trying to chase a dream. Try to think that if you have a visa in the United Kingdom, you will have made it. Trying to say, okay, if they allow me on the medical register, I will have made it. Trying to say, if I get children, I will have made it. Because I didn't have a child, therefore I'm miserable. It is all vanity. I have come to the greatest nation on earth. They call themselves the Great Britain. And it is the most rotten. It eats on people. Look, if you want to just sit on the underground and look at them, how miserable they are. They cannot even complain. Every 1st of January, their train tickets increase. The tickets that take you to work are almost 3 times. It's called the rush hour ticket. 3 times the price of a normal ticket. So if you don't go to work and you are going to enjoy London, you will get a cheaper ticket, 3 times cheaper than somebody actually waking up to go to work. And they don't even have an argument about it. You buy a ticket in a train, and you don't even get a seat. And the thing is, I'm talking about the fact that you can't reason, you can't speak out what is shall be. We are the round hall, and everybody shall conform to that round hall. The Bible tells me, thou shalt not conform to the standards of the world. I am square pegged. I'm not going to fit in a round hole. If you ever force me, you will have to force me, batter me, beat me, and put me in there. And while I'm there, I'll lift up my head and say, I am still here as a square peg. When I came, I was thinking that when I get here, I will find round holes, square pegs, rectangular pegs, triangular pegs. And I will find triangular holes, square holes, rectangular holes. And everybody will fit where they fit. I used to think that this country would be esteeming the way they go into other nations and grab billionaires. They don't care whether Museveni and his mafias have stolen this money and they come here and buy houses. They don't care. But they will go out there and look for all these rich people and they bring them as investors. So me, I was thinking that when you come to this country as a brilliant, intelligent person, you will sit on the board of intelligent people and iron sharpen each other. They will get the intelligent doctors from China, the intelligent doctors from India, and then Great Britain shall be greater. Then humanity shall be blessed. No, they don't see you beyond your skin color. How many doctors from Uganda are in this country working their professionals, their choice specialties? You are all pushed in the least wanted department, that is GP and psychiatry. The surgeries, the majors, the whatever, the big, where the money is and the esteem is, are reserved for them. Is that what you want to do? Is that what me, a square peg, wanted to do? Is that why I boarded the plane to come to this country? Go to construction, you will say, okay, Christine, because you doctors are complicated. What about us? You come here and a black person will go on a building site as an askari, as a security. You are not allowed to see how these buildings are built. So the askari will come there for the next 3 months. They will dig the foundation. They will put in the gas, the electric, and the fiber optics for the internet. The building will go up 100 floors. And this black boy, apart from opening the gate for the trucks to come in and the trucks to get out, doesn't have a clue. You go to Uganda, you build buildings every day, they are falling and killing people. Is that what you want to come to be? To be reminded of your skin color? Oh, but Christine, there are people who are working these big jobs. Should I tell you that the reason most of them are there, 99% why a black man is in a job in this country, is because they want to do the equality ticket? Is that what you want to be? Is that why God created us to be? That I get a job because they want a black person on board? Because they want an ethnic minority on board? Or do I get a job because I qualify for this job? I said this is going to be heavy and it's going to be intelligent. Intelligent. So, what about the people that are our relatives that are out there and they are enjoying and they are driving 4x4 cars and they are building houses in Africa and they are really living a glorious life? Oh, Christine, you're just frustrated. That's what everybody tells me. I have very many Christian calling themselves pastors. I have some every time I post something on my Facebook, because they want to show the elitism, they say, oh, you're a very troubled person. You're very bitter. You're very angry. I will come to that level by concluding by saying that they have the arrivalism. Bakalaba. They haven't gone beyond to realize that having a car that your child cannot inherit. You can drive the same car in Uganda. Baby Cool drives a car. This chameleon boy was given a car and is in Uganda. If you have to come to England to actually afford a car, you're cheaper than a Ugandan. In England, we migrate to exchange ideas, to go back to our societies in Africa, to leave a legacy, to write a book, to rewrite history, to draw pictures, to break through, to leave a legacy. You know, this country is great. That one should never be taken away from them. They've discovered things. So when you migrate to this country as an uneducated person, it's not to come and afford a mortgage. Ugandans can afford a mortgage without even doing half what you've done. Ugandans, people, we are reduced migrants in UK, we are reduced to saying abana bafe basomera bwerere. What is this? UPE. UPE. UPE is what this government gives you. Mwenna musome. How many, I will ask you a question, how many migrants? You put 100 Ugandans back home and 100 Ugandans here. So those are 50 couples, a wife and a husband. They all left university at the same time. 100 Ugandans, they all left university, and 100 Ugandans, they also left Ugandan universities, but they migrated to UK. Put them together as husband and wife, and leave the other 50 couples in Uganda. Let them give birth to 4 children each. Give me 20 years from now. Show me the children that are born 20 times, 4 times 50 is 200 children. 200 Ugandan children that are born in UK, 20 years, and 200 children that are born by couples, the graduates in Uganda. Show me how many of them, how many of the UK children have gone to university, have done their father's courses, if they are doctors, if they are engineers, if they are lawyers, in UK. All you hear is so-and-so has been stabbed on the streets. So-and-so is in drugs. So-and-so is in prison. So-and-so is in council house, has got a council house. We praise the Lord. I don't know. I want to create you a picture that says wherever God has planted you, be happy, be satisfied, serve God. When Christ went to the grave, it wasn't easy. If I was a journalist and I brought a microphone and I said, Jesus, what is your number one regret? He says, I regret if I had to change anything. He did it. He did it in the Garden of Gethsemane. He said, if there is any other way, I don't want to go to the cross. Not only did he go to the cross, he was killed. He was mad beyond recognition, and he died. I love that scripture. Every time I want to put it on my fridge, God died. Every time I'm frustrated, I want to rub it in God's face and say, you even died. So don't even just think it's me who actually are dying in my own movie. Even God died in his own movie. Anyway, he died, and he spent not 3 hours, but 3 days. So when you put a microphone before Jesus in the grave for 3 days, you tell him, what are you doing here? God, why don't you just get the hell out of here? You don't like it here. You're not supposed to be here. Get the hell out of here. He says, I need the keys. Christine, why don't you leave UK? I need the keys. I need my child. So God knew I'm crazy. I'm very crazy. He knew I would leave immediately. I don't care. So he grabbed the child, put him for adoption, so that I stay here and get the keys. I have given you the keys today. One of the keys is to tell you, fellow Ugandan, at 45 years old, it wasn't worth migrating to this country. Whatever I have achieved, I would have achieved back home. Whatever I have achieved, I would have got even much more. Whatever I have achieved, I have sweated and cried and wept. I've been humiliated. I've been degraded. That's the key. What you use this information with, I don't care. I said I'm 45 years old and I don't give a shit. So what would you advise this country to do? I pray that as I wait for the keys, as I wait for the reason why God brought me here, that I will mourn with those who mourn. I will rejoice with those who rejoice. I will love humanity. I will hug an old woman in a nursing home and say we are in this together. I will find a single parent on benefits and say, I know what you're going through. I will find somebody else frustrated by immigration papers and say, I've been there. It has brought humanity back to me. And that brings me to the conclusion, 10 minutes extra. Isaiah prophesied the Messiah. He prophesied, I don't know, was it 500 years before Jesus showed up? And he said, a virgin shall give birth. We read this scripture every Christmas, everywhere, wherever you go. A virgin shall give birth to a child. His name shall be Wonderful Counselor, Son of God, Emmanuel, God with us. And then he says, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. There was a comma that lasted 2,000 years, 21 years, ever since Jesus cried. In Isaiah's prophecy, from God with us to the government is a comma that has lasted all the time. The government, Jesus Christ is coming back, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. Upon his shoulders. You know, the logo, what are they called? Muluganda tubiita chepe. Bolabo wa police, when you see the police or the army, they have those ranks here, the shoulders. It shows the government. The flag usually is also there. So it shows the government shall be upon his shoulders. So this Prince of Peace, King of Kings, Son of David is coming back. And he will have, the way he will rule, he will have the government upon his shoulders. We pray for his kingdom to come, his will to be done as it is in heaven. What is it? So how do we conclude this? We conclude this by saying, love each other. We are in this together. Humanity hurts. It doesn't say, oh, it's only Ugandans that hurt. Oh, it's only English people that hurt. Oh, it's only the Afghanistans that hurt. So don't allow the media to separate us by skin color, by religion, by gender, by homosexuality or not homosexuality. We all hurt. That's a message I've received my 15 years of being in this country. We hurt. When they say the Muslim, oh, there's the Muslim, the Muslims, they plant bombs, they are separating us. The Muslims are hurting as much as the English are hurting as much as the black. We are in all this together. But when you read the newspaper, when you open BBC, it will show you that this one is wrong, that one is wrong, that one is there. The immigration has gone high. The immigration are filling up all our jobs. Oh, the immigration are giving too many, they are giving birth to too many babies. They say that one, that one, that one. The Bible has a certain parable that began, not a parable, a real story. The disciples came to Jesus and said, that woman, that sinful woman, if only Jesus knew who was that woman. So that is how the BBC, the administration here, what they call the authority, the system, says it is the black people. It is the Muslim. It is the illegal immigrants. Don't allow humanity, because you'll be asking, Christine, I'm British. I was born in this country. I'm English, I'm Scottish, I'm Welsh. I feel your heart. I feel that we've let you down, but how would we recompense? Should we come and give you a hug? No. Love one another. Love humanity. Humanity, we are all human beings created in the image of God. You have your own heart. We've been let down by our governments. We've been sold for lie. I've seen the heart in the local, in the indigenous British people. They work all their lives. They sacrifice all their days. And the day they lose their memory, even that is questionable. You don't take me down there. Even that is questionable. Why they lose their memory? What is this dementia thing? Because I've told you they have shut them out. They've given them an education that is called indoctrination. They don't question things. And even when they question things, the boot pushes them down. How do you dare you question dementia? You were sick, and that's it. You've lost your memory. That's it. How come our grandparents die at 90, 100? And they still tell us stories. They still can remember all the grandchildren's names. They are still in their houses. They are not setting it ablaze. They are not eating their own poo. I've seen humanity hurting. And so, as a British person, don't look for me and say we are sorry for what has not gone right in your life. Look out on your neighborhood. There is a person hurting. Why should a woman work all their lives? Parents work for all their lives. The day they lose their memory, your government comes and sells their house and pays for a room in a nursing home. So the Bible says that we shall leave an inheritance to our children's children. You work all your life to just fund for your own funeral. Do you know how much to bury a human being here is? They earn all this money, then they have to sell the house. When grandma dies, they sell grandma's house and then they pay the funeral rights. The corporate world has stolen from this country, from the people. Humanity hurts. I can't go into details. My hour is done. So if I had to turn back the clock, would I come? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Jesus was given the opportunity. He said if there was another way, he would never have gone to the cross. I repeat, Jesus was asked, if we turn down the clock, would you go to Calvary? He said, no. If there is any other way, I conclude, there is no other way to go to heaven. There is no, that answer was answered. That question was asked. Is there any other way? No. We don't go through anything. I'm not going to mention here things that you pretend like when you do this, you do that, you go to heaven. No. It is through the cross of Jesus Christ, because he prayed it and he said, if there's any other way, please remove this cup of suffering, the cup to go to Calvary, be beaten and mad beyond recognition. Take it off from me. And there was no answer. He had to go through it. So if there was any other way, would I come to England? I would never. I would have stayed home. I would have gone to Kenya. I would have worked. After my 3 years, they would have sent me back to Mulago. I would have graduated as a postgraduate. I would have been in touch with my family. I would have lived a decent life. I would have been there to bury my grandmother. I would have been there to rejoice when my sisters are marrying, to rejoice when their children are born, to hug them, to cry with them. Not to come here and spend 15 years trying to prove that I'm more than my skin color. Not to come here and spend 15 years trying to say, no, that is my child. I have raised over 20 children. Mom died when I was coming out of university. I've seen them all through. I have adopted almost 20 of my own. I've seen them through. How can I not raise my own biological child? Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, this is a very hard-hitting message, and it's very intellectual as well. People wish to migrate, people migrate, and people will always migrate. So what is Christine's message in this? Christine's message in this is don't put your hope, your destiny into the whole idea of migrating. That when you arrive in England, you will have arrived in your destiny, in your, seventh heaven? It's called arrivalism. Arrivalism. Things may not go right, like they didn't go right in my case, or things may go right, but you still will not be happy, will not be fulfilled. So whichever way, trust in God, believe in God, and wherever God has planted you, if you find yourself in England, rejoice. If God hasn't granted you the Spirit to come, rejoice in the village where you are. Rejoice. Rejoice. Don't say my rejoicing right now is dependent on, oh, she rejoices because she's in England. No. No. If you are to split my heart, you would never want to exchange your place for mine. The tears I've cried, the misery I've gone through, you will say, no, I would rather take my life back. I would rather live my life in Chanamkaka. Father, in the name of Jesus, I send this message forth, saying, like, let your kingdom come. Let your will be done. I bless this nation. And before I pack my bags finally to leave, Father, I want this story to change. I will pray that the years that you're going to allow me to live in this country, that you will restore the years that the locusts have eaten. You will change this story. You will not let the devil have the upper hand. I will see the goodness of the Lord in this land. The forefathers of this country sacrificed. There are people here who have done good. And that is why most of us migrate here, to come and say, thank you. I came to say thank you to the woman who sponsored me. I've not been given that chance. Instead, I've been given bitterness. I've been given anger. I came to say thank you to Save the Children Fund. Instead, my story is splashed all over as a criminal, as a somebody who has been in prison 4 times, as a somebody who has had a child taken off me, as a person who has been stripped of reputation and credentials and everything else. I wrote a story before I came and said that when I arrive in England, I will give a story, I will be a poster girl. The devil has turned that. Before I leave this country, I pray, oh Lord, that this story shall be reversed. I'll live to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Your will be done as it is in heaven. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.